Welcome back to the White, Gray, Black Weekly Manga Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about all of your favorite ongoing Japanese manga. My name is Bruce. I am the proprietor of the White, Gray, Black YouTube channel. With me again this week, the Kagura to my Bachi, it's Gautam.
Hello, hello.
This week we're going to go over the last new wave of Shonen Jump manga with Elk Itsumo's 2 on Ice. Then we will recap the 3 new series that premiered this month. Finally, we're going to hit our creative choreography choice, talk a bit about the start of this sniper fight happening in Sakamoto Days. All that, this week's manga news, and more coming right up. So let's talk about 2 on Ice. This is the last new manga premiered in Weekly Shonen Jump for the sort of fall premiere grouping, I guess you could call it. This is a cute little romance, maybe sports, probably slice of life, not sure, competitive duos, ice skating manga, something like that. And the first chapter was pretty okay, I would say. How'd you feel about the first chapter, Adam?
I didn't really like it. I wasn't a huge fan of that one. Yeah. Well, what did you like? Let's go into it. What did you think? What did you like?
So
what did you like?
I guess I will recall that last week I had said that I expected this to be straight up bad, and it was not bad. I do not think that this was a bad first chapter by any means. I do think this is the weakest first chapter we got of the grouping, and maybe of the last couple. Yeah, the art is okay. It isn't bad, I would say. The characters were all right. The main character seems, I know we talk about really liking like the idiot savant type character, the sort of I am stupid but I am very smart at one thing. This guy seemed just kind of more like an idiot, hardworking guy. I don't know. I was not super attached to the main character. Or the girl also, there's not a whole lot of characterization in this first chapter, I would say. It was a lot of plot setting and setting up sort of where these people are, what's going to be happening. So maybe the coming chapters do a little bit more for it. I don't know. I didn't think it was cute. I thought it was kind of funny. Some of the action stuff here, like when you saw people doing ice skating moves, I thought was good. So that certainly isn't bad. But again, yeah, this one I struggled with. I think other people will struggle with it. I don't think this is a strong enough first chapter to really grab people. I've barely seen people talking about this on Twitter and Reddit and other social media things. This has not lit a fire under my heart or under anyone else's heart. Just based on the first chapter, it's probably not long for this world. Now, I mentioned last week that we have the anime for Medalist coming out pretty soon. I don't remember if that's in October or in January again. This will still be around no matter what when it premieres, so maybe when that comes out, this catches a little bit more, and Jump might keep it around just because it's a sports thing. They don't really have a sports thing going on. And winter starting, maybe winter makes it bigger in Japan. As a Western reader, I don't think this was a bad first chapter. It just isn't good enough, I guess, is maybe the shortest way to say it.
Yeah, that's fair. We actually have had a surprising amount of really good first chapters recently. So, well, really good's a stretch, but pretty dang good, right? Like,
yeah, and I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Like MMA and Mama Yu, I think are like far better than this.
Yeah, but even Kagurabachi, I thought had a better first chapter.
Same.
And
in my opinion, this one, okay, so I have an issue when I'm consuming any kind of media, and if you ask me to describe a character, like their personality, their likes and dislikes, that should be easy. And I can do that. Like, I can describe a character's personality for almost everything I watch or read.
Yeah.
I really can't. I don't know anything about this main character. I don't even know what his personality is like. He's apparently a savant who saw a little girl ice skate well and dropped everything in his life to ice skate so he could impress her? Question mark.
Yeah, I don't know.
Be better at ice skating. Like,
maybe,
what does he want? What does he want here?
Yeah, I don't know, and I think that's the big issue with this chapter is that it's just a lot of sort of like plot. It's just a lot of these two characters met, and then this guy practiced ice skating, and then the girl went away, and then 3 years later they meet back up, and then they ice skate together, and then she poses him with a question. There's not a whole lot of like the main character was feeling like this or any of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think that's definitely what was missing. It was definitely just a lack of sort of like character personality. There's kind of not much personality here, I would say, yet at least. Maybe it'll come, but not in chapter 1.
But I don't even know why he like. I think he was doing it because he was very competitive. Is he a hot-headed person? I don't know. That didn't come off on the page. If he is,
it doesn't really. Again, you don't really get good characterization in the first chapter of any of either of the two main characters. The girl seems like maybe she's kind of aloof and cold, but then she's also friendly. So she also wasn't super well defined for me. Sometimes you can have like an amorphous main character who doesn't have much of a personality, right? I mean, shonen exists, right? Like Deku exists. You can have a character without a main personality and a good story around it, and it can be okay.
Isekai genre exists.
Exactly, yeah. Isekai exists, but that kind of would require the girl in this chapter to be like, oh, she's fun, she's cool to watch, but she also wasn't bad necessarily. It just was like, what's her personality? I don't really know. She was like a little bit sassy, but not a whole lot, and she's like a good skater is kind of all we know about her, right? And she's always been a good skater. And the boy learned to skate from her, but none of that is actually character stuff. So I don't know.
And that shit doesn't make any sense either. It's like he spent like 5 years like doing these moves over and over and didn't do any research about skating at all. Like he doesn't know what two people skating together. Like he's never seen that happen.
Two people skating together. What is that?
Dude, I haven't skated at all, and I know what ice skating is. Like how have you done this for 5 years and you don't know? That's insane.
Again, it's like he's not really a savant. He's just an idiot. He seemed very stupid. He's like the stupid, hardworking, which is like maybe a form of idiot savant, but it didn't work because there's no personality.
If you're hardworking, you would do basic research. You would understand what ice skating is. Like understand the rules to some capacity. I don't know. It's like there's a lot wrong. I also did not like the first person narration, which so basically
there's a lot of that early in the chapter.
And throughout, right? Like there's like a lot of first person narration, but it's not like I think My Hero does it like well. It's a good example of how to do it. It's like oh, this is how I became the greatest hero in the world, and then the rest of the story sets up what
is
the
not
narration
narrated.
said,
or is barely narrated.
And the first person narration here is told from a future perspective, but it's not like hinting at anything. It's just like and then a bunch of years passed, and then I kept skating, and then I went to this ring, and then I met this girl, and then this happened. It's like me telling us, it's like me telling a story of what happened at the bar the other day. It's like this is not like the narration wasn't really doing anything. It's just like, well, this doesn't even need to be here, right? It could just be a text box and not the main character narrating himself. Yeah,
this definitely felt It felt amateurish in its sort of presentation in general. Again, I don't think it's necessarily like it's not the worst chapter 1 I have ever seen in Jump. It's probably not even the worst chapter 1 this year, considering we got we got New Age Exorcist and stuff like that. But
not nearly as bad as New Age Exorcist pilot. But it was dull. I think. That's
it just lacked the sort of vibrancy and life that you kind of want in something like this. There's no magic in it. You kind of want the magic on ice or something like that. I don't know. All this, if you want to go read Medalist chapter 1 and come back next week and see how good that is at characterizing both of the main characters, of who they are, what they're good at, what they want, their drives. That's the other thing, is that they kind of left. The girl kind of tells the guy, he's like, why did you go away? Why did you stop skating? And she's like, oh, I decided to just quit doing singles and I want to do doubles now. And so that's why I disappeared and I've been looking for a partner. Maybe you're good enough. And it's like, I'm sure we'll get into more information of why, but that's like such a, like, really, you just like disappeared from the skating world completely because you wanted to do doubles skating and you haven't been able to find anyone when you were like a child prodigy. But also that doesn't make much sense because why wouldn't you just do both? Lots of skaters do both. I don't know.
They're saving it for her dark backstory.
Yeah, for sure. So she hurt herself or her mother died or who knows.
She fell down the stairs. I don't know. It's so much. It's so, like you mentioned medalist. Let me give an ice skating rec too. Just like last week, I rec again Dog's Red. It has more characterization in the main character in like the first 3 pages than this whole chapter does.
Yeah, as soon in Dog's Red, we talked about it how many weeks ago now? Like maybe 2 months ago, maybe 7 or 8 weeks ago.
Something like
on
that.
The 4th or 5th page when the main character just like tears up the victory thing or whatever, you're like, okay, I already am like curious at least, and the main character has expressed a massive amount of character himself. That series is great. There's better ice skating stuff out there. This might end up sort of a rising tide raises all ships, right? So this might be one of those things where Medalist and Dog's Red is by the author of Golden Kamui, which is a very massively popular series. Maybe because all of these ice skating things are hitting at the same time, maybe they all end up getting decently popular. Maybe it starts a new wave in Japan of ice skating shit. I don't know. This one is the least good of Medalist, Dog's Red, and Two on Ice, but
yeah, just tough competition, right?
Also true.
To me, it's like opening up a local grocer right next to a Walmart. I just don't see. I don't see this like lasting too long, unfortunately.
Yeah, this one, I think Kagurabachi will stick around. I think that one was
100%
memed enough and seems to be massively popular, and I think that one is exactly for 14-year-old boys. This one, I think if we got to call one cancel of the things that premiered, it's this one. Mama Yu Yu, I hope, makes it, because it's good. Why don't we just go ahead and move on? Is there, anything else you want to say about Two on Ice? We can say, let's talk about all 3 of the new things that premiered, right? So...
Yeah, no, not really. I don't want to be too negative on it because, like you said, it wasn't like horrible.
It's not bad.
It was just dull.
A little amateur. It needs just a little bit of shine and polish and magic thrown in, and I think it would have been pretty good. But
to me, nothing in it really worked. But
nothing in it also failed. So it's like, very kind of middling. But
it's just boring. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've said this many, many times. Sometimes being middle of the road is worse than being straight up bad. So
yeah,
we definitely could be an issue there.
Because at least it's fun to talk about bad stuff, right?
Exactly. Or people will meme on it or post pictures of it. I don't think I saw, I follow a lot of people on Twitter that talk about the WSJ series. I don't read Jujutsu Kaisen. I see half the panels on Sunday when that comes out, in addition to One Piece and all this other stuff. And Kagurabachi, I saw a ton of stuff. Even Mama Yu Yu, I saw people talking about. I don't think I saw a single tweet about Two on Ice on Sunday or Monday or anytime. No one is talking about it. So that's, and again, that's a very narrow sphere that I've created for myself. So,
but I also think that's why we don't have too much to say on it, is because it's just like, it's not doing anything too right. It's not doing anything too wrong, but it's dull. And I think if we linger on it, it will end up being more negative than the thing deserves, So
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
This might
Whereas New Age Exorcist, rightfully, I felt deserved the shit we gave it.
New Age Exorcist had a really bad first chapter. People seem to have latched onto that series and say that it's gotten better, so I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and give it a try. To be honest, a lot of series' first chapters have not been good and series have turned out to be better. Undead Unluck is one that I know I was not really very fond of the very first chapter, even the first 2 or 3 chapters. And that gets a lot better as it goes on. I've been reading through that kind of slowly. Vibration Man is one that we've brought up a lot in the past couple of months. That one has a straight up, I think, bad first chapter. And then chapter 2 on is pretty dang good. So...
Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah,
another one.
No X, you don't say the X, but yeah.
Actually, if you watched / read more, you would find out that there is an X, and that's a huge spoiler I just gave you. So put that in your pocket.
Yeah, but let's go back. 3 new WSJ series. Mama Yu Yu, we've gotten 3 chapters of it now. It gave us a sort of intro arc. I think it even kind of closed it out by saying, that's your introduction. We're going to go do stuff now. How'd you feel about the first 3 chapters of Mama Yu Yu?
I thought it was great. I think I worry that this is a slow start full of characterization. Mm-hmm. And that won't appeal to the target audience of Jump. That's my worry, but for me personally, I think it's great. I think it's really interesting. It's a unique spin on like the whole hero demon lord shtick. It seems character focused, which these things never really are. And I, of course, like the standout is the paneling.
Paneling here is like, that's really the thing that's grabbed me on Mama Yu Yu. I think it's hitting on a lot of things that are popular. I mean, it kind of has a reverse isekai multiverse thing going on, which are very kind of in vogue in general in the world right now. Spider-Verse, Marvel movies, stuff like that.
Versus. Yeah,
Versus is, it's very similar. Yeah. It also kind of has demons versus humans. That's a very classic thing. It's kind of isekai worldy. It has a lot of things that are just sort of like, I've seen all of these ingredients. I've not seen them mixed in this way before. And then, like the paneling in this, like it's only been 3 chapters, so I'm not going to call that it's like, oh, this is the best paneling that Jump has ever had. But like, this is like maybe second only to Witch Hat for me in panel. Like Witch Hat Atelier is the best paneled manga I think I've ever read. This is like a close second. After only 3 chapters, the paneling for in chapter 3, I think it's when the older guy is like cutting up the demon, and the cuts are like panels blocked out like around the demon thing. Like that's so cool to read. Like that visually, when you read stuff like that, it is more interesting than just seeing it drawn inside a square panel. So I'm here for Mama Yu Yu. I'm excited. I really hope this one sticks around. This is one that I think has a lot of legs. I think there's a lot of room and places this could go. I hope it sticks around because I just think like Jump isn't really known for having really good paneling or art. Like in general, I would say Jump paneling is like maybe just strictly worse than a lot of other kind of magazines or groups, just because the slog of a weekly action thing for 14-year-old boys does not lend itself to, well, make sure your panels look really good and cool and your page layouts are really great. Even something like, we'll talk about it in a bit, but like Sakamoto Days has great action and has like pretty good paneling, above average, but it's not, it is not paneled in a way that is as inspiring as something like Witch Hat or even Mama Yu Yu. So,
there's this like cool section in Mama Yu Yu where like the mom was in the hospital and talking to her son, and she's talking about how she's afraid of him growing up too fast, leaving the nest and following in his dad's footsteps, stuff like that. And you see the dialogue and panel from the perspective outside the hospital window from like a bird's nest of a mom bird feeding her baby birds. And like that's very clear symbolism for like their mother-son relationship and whatnot. But you don't really see stuff like that. That's like a movie shot that you see in a movie or a TV show, but you don't see that in like Jump or manga that often.
Yeah, visual. It's very strange to me. I don't want to call it specifically Jump. It's strange to me how massively popular manga often completely forego the visual storytelling aspect of the medium. Whereas like, and again, I think it's another one of these hard things that like, well, yeah, a lot of popular movies also kind of don't, put their camera in interesting places or frame things in ways in the camera in a movie, for example. Like, I can't remember the last Marvel movie that had like an interesting camera shot in it, right? I mean, they're all sort of standard, like pretty cut and dry, straightforward type things. But when you get something good,
constraint. It is, like you said, it's purely a time constraint. I feel like there's just way too much to do. Then it's hard for people to worry about like symbolism and how it, like, I don't know. Like,
but I do think I'm excited that
scenes like that.
I think the paneling in these first 2 chapters of Mama Yu Yu has been so good that even if their paneling gets like a little bit worse or it's a little bit less creative, it's like it's still going to be like really good. Like it's okay if it slips a little bit, going more weekly, more quickly, more week to week, whatever you want to say, because it's still like it's miles ahead of everything else in Jump, and that's like, so it can slip a little bit and still be pretty far ahead.
Yeah, I think the last thing in Jump that I remember being this good, and I might be wrong because my memory might be off, but what was that thing with the orphans? It was a mystery.
Orphans mystery.
Like they were all genius orphans that were like.
Oh.
They were trying to escape the orphanage.
I know what you're talking about. And there's like the cannibal monsters, and they're in the orphanage, and they escape the orphanage, and then it gets real bad after that. What is that fucking called?
The author was like an artist before this. So, I mean, it makes sense why her panels were good. But yeah, she did a good job.
Promise Neverland. Is that what you're talking about?
Promise Neverland. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Promise Neverland, one of the greatest first arcs I've ever read. Like, seriously, so good. And the second they get out of the orphanage, slight spoilers for the first arc, that series goes to absolute dog shit. But
that's rough to hear.
It's been a couple years since I've read it, so I don't really remember the paneling. But I do remember. I remember it being really good while I read it, up until they leave the orphanage, which is only like the first 40 chapters of like a 200 chapter thing. So
was it that long? I didn't even get to the part where they leave the orphanage.
Yeah, because I read about 100 chapters of it, and I think there were maybe 140, 150, and it ended like a year and a half later. So, yeah. Anything else on Mama Yu Yu? I mean, it's good. I like it. I really, really hope it sticks around. I'm a bit worried for it for the same reasons that you said. I'm worried that I don't know if 14-year-old boys care about cool paneling, but I do think that it's been cool paneling around action, which is generally maybe more gripping than this, like the bird shot you mentioned. 14-year-old boys don't give a shit about that, but also the action paneling is cool, so maybe that is more appealing. So I'm hoping this one sticks around.
I'm not even sure it is, because it's not hype action. It's not like this edgy guy, Kagurabachi, cutting down 8 dudes at once. It is like esoteric, weird action, right? And so I don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll see.
I don't feel good about Mama Yu Yu's chances, but
I'm nervous. Yeah.
But I would really like to see it succeed, because I think out of the 3 we see on the screen right now, that one's easily my favorite.
I think so too. Yeah, it's definitely the one that I think has shown the most potential and the most separated itself in its artistry, mainly with the paneling, but also with a lot of the visual storytelling and stuff, like you were saying. Like, it clearly, that author has a better grasp on a lot of storytelling, even though they've chosen maybe kind of a generic angle to go for it at. That's Jump's fault.
I even like the angle. I think there is room for this like demon lord hero type story that's actually creative, introspective, and all that stuff, right? Like, so if I don't know, let's see where it goes. I think this all felt like a prologue, right? So
I think it was solicited as such in the chapters. So I'm ready to see where it goes. He's got his kind of mentor character in this other demon, the Demon Lord's number 2, I guess, who is. It's just a weird Japanese thing that always pops up as, if there's a Demon Lord, there's the Demon Lord's number 2. I mean, there's multiple series where they are like a main character. The Great Jahi-sama is like, the main character is the Demon Lord's number 2 in that series. So.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, they show up a bunch. Okay, let's talk about Kagurabachi, the meme lord. Chapter 2 came out. I thought it was still pretty good. I thought Chapter 2 addressed some of the things we complained about in Chapter 1, or were a little concerned about, was, can it keep its levity? Does it actually have an interesting story? Is it more than just revenge gore porn? I thought that it addressed most of those in a mostly positive way. I thought whoever the light-haired guy is, I thought he was pretty funny in Chapter 2. There's definitely some intrigue here with what the magic system is. The swords are cool. I don't know. This one is much less to think about. I think much less to talk about, just because it's pretty simple and straightforward. But I seems pretty easy read, so I'll keep reading it. I don't hate it.
Yeah, fair enough. For me, it was just I thought Chapter 2 was weaker. I thought Chapter 1 had at least the intrigue of its premise, and I could fill out or give a generous read towards its mysteries. And Chapter 2 didn't really elaborate or elucidate on any of them. It kind of just did the same stuff as Chapter 1.
It was really just kind of like Part 2 following action of Part 1. It wasn't much of anything new. It was just kind of like, okay, the because part one was already split into sort of like a past and a future part, and this was really just kind of the second part of the future part, right? So, I'm kind of more curious about chapter 3 because it introduced some new stuff. So, are you going to get sort of a new arc or a new little story? So, I'm curious to see where it goes. Again, it's sort of like there's nothing inherently bad about it. Maybe could be a little uninteresting or boring, but it feels like a super easy read. I don't read it and I'm like, disgusting, bad. So I don't know. It seems like a pretty easy read. I'm okay to keep reading it until something turns me off of it.
I feel like this is the type of manga where in a year someone would say, "Do you remember this manga?" And I'll say, "No, never read it."
Yeah, it's possible.
I know I'm sounding a bit cynical following Two on Ice here, but this is just very generic, cut and dry, standard fare. Like, I don't even think it has to do with Shonen Jump. It's just like, this is like every other thing in its genre.
It's very, I mean, yeah. We talked about it when it came out. It's just kind of another Bleach, which is just another Yu Yu Hakusho. It's all the same vein. It's just another Demon Slayer. So, I mean...
it's not even as good as any of those yet.
No, but I mean, I will say, well, I don't know, it might be better than Demon Slayer, but I will say all of those things survived, right, and thrived in Jump.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't.
And I think this will thrive.
Yeah, I think this one is positioned at an angle in Jump of like, this is. We talk about how they're always kind of looking for the next big thing. They're looking for the next Jujutsu Kaisen, the next Demon Slayer, the next, whatever's going to be their big pop off thing, and this kind of fits the bill of like. Yeah, in a year or two, this could be their new big thing. Like, dude with a sword in a black jacket.
Probably, yeah.
Easy cosplay, like, could be everywhere. You never know. We will have to see on Chapter 3 if they start introducing any side characters. Because I think, like we mentioned in Chapter 1, the big thing here is, are the side characters interesting? I do like the light-haired guy in Chapter 2. I thought he was still funny and lighthearted again. But we didn't get anybody
new. The dad
new.
are the only things I like. The only characters I like. And the dad's dead. So, he's the only character I like.
Maybe he's in the sword. We'll see. But, yeah.
Who knows, right? Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just... It's cynical, but this one's also boring. Like, it's like I find myself, like... compelling myself to care when I read this.
Yeah.
Which just means it's not for me, probably. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that I've read too many of this genre before and they're all the same.
Yeah, there's some things like that. Like like I mentioned, I've been reading Undead Unluck, and a lot of people rave about that series. And I'm like 40 chapters in, and I'm also just kind of having a hard time caring because there's just a lot of random stuff that isn't... I don't know. It just isn't really presented in a nice consumable way or at a nice consumable speed. I think I mentioned, I was talking to you that last week I finished a chapter, and the entirety of the chapter is like, they talk to this like devil book, which usually like gives them rewards, but they messed up a mission the book gave them. So the book just like summons the idea of the cosmos into their world, which then leaves, brings in an alien invasion force. The alien invasion force attacks and comes up against someone with a power that's like, what is it, like injustice. And because the alien talked to her and said that their idea of justice was conquering other planets, she can just reverse it. And so she does, and it destroys all the aliens, and they promise never to come back again. That's one chapter of Undead Unluck. And it's like, bro, that's too much for me. This might just not be for me.
Sounds like they did Ender's Game in one chapter. Nice.
Yeah, it was insane. But anyways, all that to say that, yeah, maybe I'll stick with Kagurabachi because I think it's an easy read. I think it's so sort of simple and maybe boring that it's like inoffensive, and I don't know. I'm a little curious about what happened to the dad. More details, I guess. The magic system seems kind of interesting. Who knows? It's very inoffensive. It's very easy to read. If it does get too boring, I'll just stop reading it and forget to read it, and then it'll go by the wayside. Which has happened before.
It's popcorn, right? It goes by in like 2 seconds and it's empty calories.
Yeah.
I get you.
And I saw people comparing. So this had sort of a meteoric chapter 1 that went really, really high, at least on Western, Manga Plus reading app and stuff. People were comparing this a little bit to Ayashimon, which was the second by, what is it called? Jigokakuro, Hell's Paradise, that series. And Hell's Paradise was popular, and then they did Ayashimon. Ayashimon got canceled in, 21 chapters or whatever. But the chapter one was huge, so I don't think that having a big, huge chapter one here necessarily saves this if it can't keep up the hype, if it doesn't continue to be good. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and see.
Yeah. But, hey, to cap off our recap, I know this is just like the the newest three, but MMA has been consistently good.
Yeah, MMA kind of dropped weirdly in the middle.
Yeah.
Dropped kind of weirdly in the middle, but yeah, that has the potential possibly to be maybe like the best new thing. Probably the best new thing in Jump this year.
It's solid.
Consistently very solid, good action, fun characters. I like the nuance we're getting around the brother. He's not just a shitbag, but that's definitely in the running. I think when we'll do our awards in like first week of December, so in like 2 months here, probably is when we'll do that. I think MMA has a good shot at probably being like the best new thing this year.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth a nomination.
It's definitely up there, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll see. That'll be up and coming. Okay, anything else on these new manga?
No, I think we said our piece. Do you have anything else?
I think I'm pretty good. I'm more impressed with the quality on average. I think Two on Ice is canceled in February. I think Two on Ice is canceled in February next year. Kagurabachi, I'll read 8 chapters and tell you how I feel then. Mama Yu, I hope makes it. That's definitely my favorite of these, so we'll keep
Yeah, me too. And, I really don't care about Kagurabashi or Two on Ice, but I would say this collection of stuff that came out is like significantly better, because even the ones I don't care about are better than like some of the shit that got canceled. And I think like the standouts like Mama Yu Yu are so much better than anything that came out last time around in the last batch.
I mean, New Age Exorcist, I Said Gil was one of those ones that I think is kind of like
I
we're
forgot
talking about.
that it existed.
I just kind of like forgot that the chapters were there and didn't purposely stop reading it, just accidentally stopped reading it. And I remember talking about it maybe the first 2 or 3 chapters and then being like, I know I read this chapter on Sunday. We're recording this on Wednesday, and it's like, I don't remember what happened. I read it 2 days ago, and I don't remember what happened in that chapter. It was very forgettable. I Said Gil's, no way that survives, I would say. New Age Exorcist maybe, but who knows? All right, let's talk about Sakamoto Days. We got a sniper versus sniper fight.
This is my, I don't know, this is possibly my favorite chapter of Sakamoto. Or one of them. It was so freaking cool. I love sniper trick shot, like the over the top movie sniper trick shot stuff. Mm-hmm. And this chapter is basically dedicated to that John Wick-esque over the top gunplay. And
it's just the start. Like, I know that next chapter is going to be more of it. And so I'm excited for that. I also love, they did this joke that I feel like they haven't done this joke in like a long time, where like Sakamoto is thinking of hitting someone, and then it like the panel goes down. It's just it doesn't actually hit them. He's just thinking about it.
Right.
He used to do this a bunch to Shin, but
where he's like killing him with a pencil and shit like that.
Yeah. So I thought that was fun.
I also like this character. Heisuke. I like, he was kind of written out of the series after his introduction for like 70 chapters, and then
he didn't show up in the school arc at all, or the test exam, whatever, all that stuff. He was just gone. So
then the author decided, hey, snipers are cool, and brought him back, and he's featuring big time recently.
This feels I was gonna say, it feels like with the stuff we got, were they in Thailand or Bangkok or something in the sort of last arc?
Yeah, I think it was Thailand
or Vietnam. I don't remember, one of those Southeast Asian countries. They were in one of those, and I felt like he was more of a prevalent character there, and I think that this is going to turn out to sort of be like his shining moment, right? Like he'll either take down this sniper guy, or he'll unlock and save them at the end of the museum thing or whatever. This seems like he's being focused on for. He kind of got an introduction development again in Thailand, and then he's getting more here. So it feels like it's going to focus on him. I hope that this signifies that they're going to bring what's her name back, the drunken master girl, who they also have written out of the series for like 100 chapters now.
Yeah. Was her name Lou? Something like that.
Yeah, Lou or Jin or Lin, I don't remember, but
yeah, she has been out of the series for a while, but
yeah, longer than Heisuke even.
Yeah, and she was kind of set up to be like a main character, so it's kind of interesting that
she definitely seemed very core group, that then was just not. So
it's like after Nami's arc, she's just like, okay, I'm gonna stay in Orange Town. See you later, guys, and they all leave, right?
Yeah.
That's how that felt with this character. She's just gone.
And she might come back. That's why I said I'm kind of hoping she does, because it makes sense. All these arcs are over. Maybe it's her turn to kind of come back and do something and have something. So,
but anyway, like this chapter, right? I love this scene where he anticipates the ego of the other sniper and jumps because he anticipates that instead of a body shot, a good enough sniper can land a headshot.
Go for the headshot, right?
Yep. Go for the headshot and land it. So he anticipates that and jumps to intercept it with his bulletproof vest. Completely over the top, but amazing. I love that. That's hilarious.
It's so good. It's like
them.
that, and then you get the sniper in the building is like this crane. He go through the series of events. He shoots the crane, which knocks out the hook on the end, which falls. He then shoots it to where a sign from the ground is thrown into the building, which grabs the rope with the hook on the end of it that's falling from the crane, which then grabs it and swings down to make an attack at Heisuke. And I guess it hits him, and it's just how do you think of that? This is the
I don't
most
insane.
Appealing part of Sakamoto Days is how do you think of action like that? Shooting a crane and it falls? Okay, interesting. Shooting a crane so that the roped claw falls, and then shooting a sign which plunges into a building, which causes the pendulum effect to then knock into the guy. It's how do you think of that?
This dude played a ton of Half-Life 2 and has experience with that physics engine, I'm sure.
That's a good, it's a good call out. This very much feels like someone drawing a manga with an open world physics engine, and everyone knows is abusing it, right? Everyone is no clipping, momentum preserving, whatever you want to call it. We talked about paneling with Mama Yu. Sakamoto Days.
Yeah,
is the best choreography.
And the next one is my favorite. It's even better than.
Yeah.
So this one, the sniper Heisuke gets away. The sniper shoots a bullet, hits the front of a motorcycle, and destroys the motorcycle. It goes up in the air. Wilhelm scream right here. And he shoots one of the spinning tires in the air, and the bullet goes through what's the metal part of the tire called?
The rim? Wheel? The rim?
The rim? Yeah, it goes around the circular part of the rim. He and uses that to curve and hit Heisuke around the alleyway. That is so fucking crazy. What an insane... How do you think of that? You're right. That's...
It's insane. It's also
It's so fun.
Even though these panels, it's literally just 1, 2, 3 top to bottom. The action is so well paneled and sighted here, because you've got the top panel is this fast spinning wheel, so it's spinning fast, and the second one is a freeze frame, a slow-mo freeze. I wouldn't even say it's a freeze frame, because it looks completely still, right? There's no movement whatsoever communicated in the middle one, which shows the bullet hitting it. In the very next one, you've already skipped ahead to the bullet moving all the way sort of through its curved arc. You kind of see kind of an all-in-one thing here, but man, this guy does action. I forget his name constantly. Yuto Suzuki. Yeah, this guy is the most creative fights. Literally the most creative fights I've ever seen.
Best in the biz, bar none.
Yeah, anywhere. People talk about the raid and John Wick and stuff about having creative and cool executed fights. That's cool. Those are kind of based in reality. This is not. So there's even more fun creative things you can do, right? Which is kind of it's just, I don't know, it's just like the most fun. Like anytime there's a fight scene, it's incredible. So
yeah, I agree. What a good fucking chapter. It's always a blast to read Sakamoto.
Yeah, and this is something new, right? Like we've seen Heisuke make some like ricochet shots that were cool, and that's creative. I'm not going to downplay that, but like sniper versus sniper, curving bullets through the rims of tires, like I'm telling you, I think next chapter is going to get even crazier. There's going to be even more wild stuff happening, unless it cuts to somebody else. Who knows? But
no, I think we see the end to this fight. They need the ticket to get to the.
That's true. That's right.
Which is the MacGuffin for the next thing. So yeah, but either way, very good chapter. Go read Sakamoto if you haven't already. If you like action stuff,
it's so good.
It's so fucking good.
It's such an easy read. Like it's not complicated at all. it flows so well.
If you find yourself confused over the main plot, I would just say, don't worry about it.
There's like only ever one plot thing going on at a time in Sakamoto Days. So
yeah.
It's like, does it matter that Sakamoto Days still has like a 5 million bounty on his head? Like, not really. Not point of the plot right now. So who cares? It's more about this other thing right now. So
yeah.
Cool. Anything else on Sakamoto Days? Or are we moving on?
Let's move on.
Cool. Let's do a little bit of news this week. If you happen to open up Manga Plus today's, what is it, September 27th when we're recording this, or this week, you will see that there is an announcement on the Manga Plus site that says changes are coming, something, subscription model. People, I guess, hacked is not the right word, found updates on, I think, the Apple App Store of there's going to be some kind of paid model for Manga Plus, very similar to the Viz app, which is essentially like a $2 and a $5 version, which doesn't make me that angry. I wish that every subscription model had the amount of content that something like the Viz app does for $2 or $5. I don't know Manga Plus. I don't know what the difference between Viz and Manga Plus, or why they include a lot of the same chapters but on different readers. Manga Plus just has a better reader in browser, at least. So if their application has a better reader, might end up using that more. I don't know. So just be prepared for that. We don't know what's coming. I don't think it's going to be too bad from the leaks. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, it sounds reasonable to me. But I thought they already have a good model. Aren't they making good money off this?
I don't know about Manga Plus. See, that's the weird thing, is that I know that Manga Plus is run, I guess, directly by Shueisha, and then Viz is a Western company who purchases the rights. And so, so here's like, they have, I'm clicking on, here we go. Notice of service renewal. Exciting changes are coming. We're gearing up for a major update to enhance our platform. Among the upcoming enhancements, we will will be changes to the available manga. More information coming with the renewal. We appreciate continued support of Manga Plus by Shueisha.
Got it.
Yeah, and it's even listed as like a Japanese time. So I guess that the main difference we're looking at here is that Manga Plus is run directly by Shueisha, and Viz is, from what I understand, a Western company that sort of licenses and works really closely to publish. They mainly do physical volume copies and translations and stuff, but their app also does this stuff. So,
got it.
But yeah, I mean, Manga Plus Reader is better. So, sorry, guys.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
way better. So, we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, not much else to say there, I don't think.
Yep.
Cool. A neat little award was given out by Tsutaya. They're called from what I saw, the Everyone's Choice. This is a Twitter translation. Everyone's Choice Tsutaya Manga Award. Tsutaya is a bookstore, so this would be like the Everyone's Choice Barnes and Noble Manga Awards, essentially, right? But Tsutaya is a Japanese bookstore. So basically, got a top 10 of their sort of manga choice awards. I'll go from 10 up to 1. That's more exciting, right? At number 10, we got Goku Rakugai by Sana Yuto. I've talked about that a couple months ago. I've not kept up with it, but I did like it. I think the art there is really great. The action is really good. Really interesting kind of shonen seinen line thing. At number 9, we got Haru no Arashi to Monster, which is Spring Storm and Monster. I believe that is a shoujo josei story. There's a couple of romances on here that I don't think have Western translations yet, or they at least not officially licensed ones. So that's, and that at number 9, that Spring Storm and Monster is one of them. That's by an author called Miyuki Mitsubashi. Number 8, we get Kindergarten Wars by Chiba Yo. That's I'm glad to see that. That's super popular. The chapter today, can we just say, the chapter today was a novel. Oh, it's hilarious. You're going to love it.
Oh, nice.
It's very good. At number 7, we have The Summer Hikaru Died, which I'm not current on, but I read a good chunk of maybe early in the year, late last year. Really good series, really interesting and cool. That's by Moku Moku Ren. At number 6, we have You and I Are Polar Opposites by Kocha Agasawa. I keep seeing You and I Are Polar Opposites pop up on awards and nominations and people talking about it. I really need to read this, I think. People are big on this one. Have you read any of this, Scoutum?
I read the first 3 chapters. It was pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, I think we need to read that just to see what it's like. At number 5, we have a series called Hotaru no Yomieri. That is Firefly Marriage, Firefly Wedding. That's by an author called Tachibana Oreko. That, again, I think is a shoujo romance type thing, which, as far as I know, doesn't have a Western release officially or yet. Fan translations exist, of course. Number 4, we have Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You by Janushi. That's a great series. We've talked about that in the past. Love that one. At number 3, we have The Demon's Bride Wants to Be Eaten. That is, I think, another one of those shoujo ones, which I haven't heard of. Not sure if it has a Western release or not. That's by Sakano Keiko. At number 2, we have, and this is a surprising one, you're going to have to give me a couple minutes to read the title of this one. It is called An Old Man from the Countryside Becomes a Sword Saint, : I was just a rural sword teacher, but my successful students won't leave me alone, ! That is by Shigeru Sagasaki and Kazuki Sato. That's an isekai, I would bet my life on.
I've read like 10 chapters of this.
Okay, is it worthy of a number 2 spot? Is it any good?
No.
It's everyone's choice, so it must be popular.
It's actually I don't even know if it's worth remembering. It's very generic.
It's very strange because usually, I mean, if an isekai is worth even a little bit, it seems to show up on Reddit, every week or every month, and I had never even heard of this, I don't think, so it went under my radar. But yeah, none of those matter because, of course, the grand prize top winner is Yomi no Sakai by Hiromu Arakawa, the greatest manga author of all time, the greatest published series right now. It's popping off. It's so good. I'm so glad to see this here. What are you doing, West? What are you doing? It's the Full Metal Alchemist author. Why are more people not talking about this fucking series? It's so good. I love Yomi no Sakai. It's so fucking good.
The impetus of us even bringing up these awards were to pitch Yomi no Sakai.
Yes, if any other series had gotten first, I would have been like, whatever. I'm not going to talk about it. But no, Yomi no Sakai won. Demons of the Shadow Realm. It's there. Hiromu Arakawa is there. You have to read this, Gautam. It's so good. I can't even, legitimately, we were talking about awards. Whenever we get to, what's the best thing you've read this year, I want to say I think I nominated it last year for maybe Best New Series. We might have given it to Best Ongoing. This is my nomination this year. That every chapter of Yomi no Sakai this year is so cool and good. It's
I'll catch up before then.
It's it's so good. It deserves this first place. It deserves every first place. She deserves every award available. When they make an anime for this, it's going to be amazing. I don't understand why more people don't read this. I get it. I do get it. It's monthly. It's not in Shonen Jump. Okay, those 2 things disqualify it from being any of the most popular things. I don't care. This is so incredible. So happy to see that up top. Any comments on any of the 1 through 10?
It's just I don't think Reddit has the attention span to remember things month to month.
Look at
Dungeon Meshi, right? That was phenomenal, but it got the final chapter got 800 upvotes, 700 upvotes, something like that.
Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 7K, right, or something. So, yeah, it's well, I don't even see people tweeting about it. I see people tweeting about Dungeon Meshi and Witch Hat and other things that are monthly, but like, I'm so mad at the Western world for a lot of things, for non-privatized healthcare, all that bullshit. But also, why don't you like Yomi no Sugai more? It's Full Metal Alchemist. It's her. It's him. It's the thing. Read it. It's so good. Okay. Did you want to say anything about any of these other 10 winners here, Gautam, or Yomi no Sugai?
No. I'm happy that she won the Japanese Barnes and Noble Award.
Yeah. Let's not. I don't know how big this award is, or if it's done by readers or what. It's very hard to find information on this, but yeah, a nice little collection of things. I think it's sold
the awards
me.
Don't, yeah, the awards, the list and the awards don't matter to me at all. But I am Team Arakawa, so I agree with the number one spot, even if I haven't read it, because she can. I've read Silver Spoon, and
yeah,
I've read FMA, and I don't. She's just so fucking consistent.
Another person who you want to talk about good paneling. Her paneling is very simple, but she does not lay out her panels symmetrically until something really important happens, and so it's really cool. Anyways, I literally make a video of her paneling maybe someday, but she's amazing.
So TLDR, you're right. Barnes and Noble Awards. Yomi no Sugai, put Arakawa in the spotlight. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. My big takeaway from this is that I think I do really need to get into You and I Are Polar Opposites. I know that shows up again on Reddit and Twitter and stuff a lot. Seems really good. The pictures I see of it seems really fun. So that's maybe going on my next to read list.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was I like the main. I don't think I've seen a female protagonist like that before. That's
good. New characters are good. Okay, moving on. Speaking, as we were talking about Hiromu Arakawa and some of the greatest. Speaking of the greatest mangaka of all time and some of the greatest manga ever created, some of the best things that have ever passed my eyes and my words I have read. Rent-A-Girlfriend hits 300 chapters. Yay! What a series.
Oh, buddy. Nice.
I stopped reading this. I dropped it. I dropped it mainly because it got moved to the...
How did you drop it?
I dropped it unintentionally because it got moved to the K-Manga app. So lots of stuff that got moved to K-Manga doesn't show up very high on Reddit Manga anymore. So people just stopped posting it. And I'm not going to go subscribe to our Kanojo Okarimasu. Like, I'm not subbing to the subreddit for that manga to read it. It's not that important to me. It's not worth anything. I was an apologist during one arc, and it just has been worse since then for like a full year and a half now. So, yeah.
Bruce, have you seen this picture of this person like digging and like the person at the bottom gives up and like walks away? It's like a meme on gambling. And
like right before you hit gold or whatever.
Right before they hit all the diamonds,
the gems.
Gold.
Yeah.
It's like that's you. That's you. Right before it gets good.
No, I'll check in. Occasionally, I will see it show up, and it'll click it, and it'll be like, "All right, what are they saying?" And it's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe we're still doing this." It's like, "All right, don't need to see anymore. See you in a month or two."
I'm just kidding. It will never get good. But yeah, hey, good for it. I wonder if it's showing any signs of concluding, or if it's just like a never-ending story.
Yeah. I wonder, like, how many chapters was something like, how many chapters is Nisekoi? That's, like, the best thing I can compare this to. This is new Nisekoi. Chapters.
I don't know.
List of Nisekoi chapter. I would say it was around, 223. So this has already surpassed Nisekoi by 2 years almost. So no idea when this will end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Nisekoi got like an epilogue recently, didn't it?
Yeah, or maybe last year, something like that. But I don't know. Moving on to other news. The author of Blame, which is a pretty popular sort of science fiction-y, I don't even know how to describe it. I read the first chapter and it was very confusing, and I was like, maybe not right now. Anyways, that author, their name is... Oh, God. Tsutomu Nihei. They're going to start a new fantasy manga titled Tower Dungeon. So, Blame has a sort of well-known, like, I don't want to call it like grimdark. It's sort of like a grimdark sci-fi. Oh, who's the guy who inspired a lot of the visual stuff from Nausicaa that we were talking about. Do you remember do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't remember the name.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Like the sort of like weird
that
1950s, 60s.
I don't remember.
I'll look it up because it's going to bother me. But anyways, that author's coming out. There's a new thing, Mobius. That's the thing. It's very, very Mobius-esque, kind of dark Mobius is the way I would describe Blame. But a lot of people speak really highly of Blame, so pretty exciting. Looking forward to definitely checking that out when we get chapter 1 over here. And the last little thing on my news thing is that the author of Beastars and one of the things that we just absolutely hate over here, the manga Sanda, about Santa Claus, the mangaka Paru Itagaki got married. She posted some pictures on Twitter of her in a big chicken hat, which I think that's some character that is popular, but I don't remember.
It was a very funny picture.
It's a very funny picture.
She seems goofy and like she has a good head on her shoulders. Congrats to her. That's awesome.
Very cool. No other news. Anything else that you noticed this week, Gautam? I think that's about it. But
yeah. Did you know that she's the daughter of that Ashita no Joe?
Or Ashita no Joe? I thought it was the Baki.
No. Was it Baki? Maybe
I think it's Baki. I think it's right. Itagaki? I think Itagaki is...
Oh, is it Baki the Grappler? Okay, got it.
Keisuke Itagaki, Grappler Baki, yeah.
Oh, okay. I almost...
the Google episode.
Yeah, Ashita no Joe is... Okay, no, that's the boxing one that inspired it, but never mind, yeah. Okay.
That's the old one, but yeah. I guess Baki's pretty old too, but cool. What's your one more thing, Gautam? What have you been doing this week?
Yeah, I've been playing Hearthstone Battlegrounds. That's been fun. But more importantly, the Scott Pilgrim show. I think that's out today.
Did it drop? I saw a clip from it on Twitter, and I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, a full clip.
Let me look that up real quick.
I bet it is.
I thought that was...
I knew that it was coming soon.
Wait, no, sorry. It is not today. I lied. It is November 17th, 2023. It looks really good. The trailer looked awesome. And I loved the comic. I thought the movie was good too.
I love the movie, yeah.
But the comic is better because it is longer.
It's always better.
It's you're just able to complete character arcs and do meaningful stuff in that length of time that you can't justifiably do in a movie. So the movie was great for its runtime. But yeah, I'm very glad that the full comic is getting kind of an adaptation now.
It'll be good to see. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Netflix dropped a bunch of stuff like today
DMC.
Earlier. Like Devil May Cry anime got announced. A Tomb Raider anime got announced. They announced something called I think like Blue Eyed Samurai or Samurai with Blue Eyes. That looked pretty interesting.
More like Castlevania.
I think I saw a clip from a He-Man show that was happening. A bunch of stuff. They're dropping more stuff about Pluto. I will simp for that endlessly. That's Naoki Urasawa, who's Pluto's coming soon in October. Watch that on Netflix. That is going to be awesome. That is one of the greatest stories I've ever seen. What I saw there was just a bunch of stuff that Netflix dropped.
I'm most looking forward to Scott Pilgrim. Hands down, I think it's a coming of age story, but for people in their early 20s, you know? Usually coming of age stories are about adolescence.
Yeah.
But it's a story about self-reflection and a lot of it's just really funny and really meaningful. And I think it appeals to people at that point in their lives where they're kind of aimless, they're young adults, and they're making mistakes along the way. So
and it's very weird to me. I don't know about you. I didn't feel like I was a fully formed person until I was like 25 or 26 maybe. So it's very strange to me that all of these hero stories end when the character turns 18. I was like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at 18. I didn't know what I was doing at 22. I was like, I had to need a couple more years under my belt till I felt sort of fully formed. So I think a lot of that is what Scott Pilgrim taps into.
I feel like so much more of a stable adult in the last year than I've ever felt, right? Like, I think that's just the human experience, you know? Like, you... but, you know, that's part of your 20s, right? You're not fully done growing and going through your shit. And you're young, so you're not in a stable place in your life. So
with jobs and money and everything, especially for people our age. Yeah, it's Scott Pilgrim, I think, taps into a lot of that. So
yeah, it's just like it's hard to figure yourself out when you have to deal with so much going on around you. But so that it deals with a lot of that stuff. It's cool. It's a good show, and they got the whole cast from the movie back. So
yeah, which is great, and that's a lot of big people who are big stars now, like Chris Evans, who is Captain America, is just doing a voice in Scott Pilgrim for probably 1 or 2 episodes.
And Michael Cera, who is Ken's friend in Barbie.
Yeah, what was his name? Paul or something? I don't know. He was a great fighter.
Yeah, he was a good fighter.
Yeah. Anyways, I've been playing Lies of P. I've got maybe 3 more chapters left. I think it's 11 chapters. I think I'm on chapter 9 right now. The game's great. It's Bloodborne 2. It's like we're never actually going to get Bloodborne 2, so just go play Lies of P. They released an update, I think, this morning or yesterday that they changed some stuff around, maybe made it a little easier. So it's interested to see how that goes. I wasn't having too much trouble with the game. There's some frustrating stuff, but I don't feel like you can't make a Souls-like game without a little bit of bullshit in it. So yeah, I'm just going to keep playing that. Probably finish it over the weekend is most likely the plan here.
You think you're almost done?
I should be pretty close. From when I looked it up, and there are 11 chapters. Like I said, I think I'm on chapter 9. And each chapter is like 2 hours. Like I think the one yesterday maybe took me 2.5, but each chapter is like maybe somewhere between 90 minutes and 3 hours long. So at most I've maybe got 10 hours left. I don't think I have that much longer left. So we'll see.
Cool. I'll be trying it out this weekend. So I'll let you know what I think.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else you want to chat about, Gautam? Or are we good to skedaddle here?
Nah, let's bounce.
Let's get out of here. Thanks again for listening or watching, everyone. Don't forget, leave us feedback, leave us a comment, upvote. What did you think about the brand new WSJ stuff? Leave us a comment on which one's your favorite. What do you think? Is Kakurabachi living up to the hype? Is Mama You Use Paneling selling you on us? Are you an ice skater who likes boring stuff? Who knows? Comment on 2 on Ice. Hey, whatever positive reinforcement comments you can leave us, go do that. If you want to check out a bit more manga content, follow me on Twitter at WGBManga. You can also find me on Patreon at the same ending, patreon.com/WGBManga. If you like us enough to give us some money, or if you are brain damaged, we'll take it. Gautam, you're part of the podcast. Don't forget to say goodbye to everyone right here.
Goodbye to everyone.
Thank you for being with us yet again this week. Please come back next week, and don't forget to read more manga.